Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, it looks like the Cold Steel Mayhem is finally set to drop. We're going to take a look at how did you use your knife today? That's what I want to know. How did you use that knife you were carrying? And then we're unboxing the No-VA-1s. I just got them in today from Matt Chase of Hogtooth Knives, of course, and I am thrilled, pleased as punch. I have not opened them. We're going to open them right here, right in front of your very eyes. Yes, it's this knife, the No-VA-1. Let's see if we can get this sweet camera shot to focus. Love that. Well, anyway, we're opening up a whole box full of these things, and this weekend will be about making boxes and filling them with packing stuff and knives, and then writing out address cards and all that stuff. So I cannot wait to get these in your hands. I'm very excited to open them up tonight. We'll take a look at them right here. Fernando Salome, good to have you here, sir. Hello, Knife Junkies from the East 70 going to West Virginia. Excuse me, from the East 70. Are you I'm trying to think of if oh yes, of course. When I drive from DC to Cleveland, I will be on 70 for a stretch of that. Dion Page, our newest Gentleman Junkie, good to have you here with us. And tonight we are also, it's a jam-packed evening. What can I say? We have a Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway this very same evening. We're going to be giving away this here Am I Seeing Double Civivi package in this O-Life pouch. Look at this. You could put change in here, use it as a sap or some other sort of weighted weapon. You've got Velcro here. You've got a pocket here. And on this side, you can put your two brand new Civivis. So we're going to be giving this away tonight to one lucky Gentleman Junkie. Who knows? Maybe Dion Page will be the man. Hello, King Junkie, Jim, and fellow junkies throughout the universe. I bet there are ET Knife Junkies watching in human disguises. You know what? I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. What can I say? Honestly, I wouldn't doubt it. Robert Douglas. Hey, Bob. Hey, Robert. How you doing, man? Good to have you with us, as always. This old sword, Dave, also great to have you with us. Dave is the man who gave us the two knives in this here package. So thank you, Dave, for sharing the wealth. And I hate that I'm saying this, but paying it forward. Oh, I hate that. This old sword says, good evening, NAF junkies. Thursday's finally here. That's right. That's right. The weekend begins here. Ed Soul Crafts. Just so happens I have an Ed Soul Crafts knife right here. Mr. Soul, how are you, sir? Hey, 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 fellas, he says. This beautiful field knife on loan to me from Mr. Soul. It is a beautifully, thinly fully flat ground knife with what I am perceiving as a what's the word? Appleseed edge, not appleseed, convex edge. Beautiful wasp wasted handle, and oh man, it feels great in hand. This is an awesome utility knife. Nicely done, Mr. Saul. All right. Oh man, we're having the freeze up. All right, I gotta be honest, guys. I have this awesome new camera. I think it's taken up too much bandwidth. It's making everything stutter, and please be patient. We'll figure this out. Robert Douglas says, just kitchen stuff today, Bob. Food prep. Oh, well, like what? I love all sorts of kitchen knives. I have some old ones from my grandma that I really like. Ket McNessar, good to have you with us, sir. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Happy Thursday Night Knives. Ket happy Thursday Night Knives to you, sir. Great to have you with us, to have you here with us, as it is great to have Byron with us, another Gentleman Junkie, another one in the running for this here knife. Byron says, howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Thursday Night Knives. Under the weather. But I'm going to hang and try until half a bottle of NyQuil kicks in. Nice. Tell me what you see, man. You want to see helicopters, man? Dion, Robert, Ed Soul, Togata, Ketmo. Peace, he says. Good to have you with us. Well, today is my brother-in-law's birthday. Happy birthday, James. Sometimes he comes on here as Handyman. That's what they called him in the Marine Corps, which I think is pretty cool. But anyway, it was his birthday. We went out for dinner tonight. Very nice. I had a glass of wine, and I decided I would continue tonight with a little bit of whiskey. And since I don't drink much these days, I'm a cheap date. Here's to you, Blade Ogre. Good to have you here with us, Chris. I was just speaking last night with Jason Grant, the maker of your Sleazy Ogre, and we have to re-record our conversation. Unfortunately, we got about halfway through it and ran into some technical difficulties, but we will be redoing that in the offing here. But I mentioned you in that interview that will never be heard, Chris. Ed Soul says, I finished the splitting maul today. Oh, cool. I am old. My back hurts just from holding the maul head up. Oh, to the grinder for a few hours. So you're holding a big chunk of steel, grinding it down, and probably holding it up here somewhere. And if I know men, they hold all of this stress and tension up here in the shoulders and in the, so you were probably ended up like this. So Ed, relax it out, man. Maybe you need a little whiskey or maybe not. But yeah, hours of that. But it will result in an awesome, awesome maul. Can't wait to see it. Have a nice day. Good to have you here with us. Good evening, Junkalos, he says. Well, good evening to you, sir. Good to have you here with us, as always. Well, here, this feature knife just sitting here under the knife cam is very Have a Knife Day. As a matter of fact, I have a T-shirt from Have a Knife Day that has this very knife, or a knife that looks exactly like this Western Bowie. I said Bowie this time. I said Bowie, and I'm drawing attention to it. Will B, nice to have you here, Will. I'm not sure if you were here a few minutes ago, but in my hot little hands, I have a box full of No-VA-1s. We're going to unbox that in a few minutes and take a look and see. That's nice and heavy. That's 28 knives in there. I have a couple extra. No-VA-1s, no way. Awesome. Yep, and I have the boxes and the curly Q paper you're going to see. That is the head of curly Q paper. And it's going to have his sticker and my sticker. And, it will be a humble offering, but it will look, it's like a little manger. I'm sending you a manger with your No-VA-1 in it. Never Enough Knives. Good to have you here. Never Enough Knives 007. Happy Thursday, esteemed junkies. Happy Thursday to you, sir. Almost showed you my bald spot. Oof, got to be careful about that. Mike Edwards, nice to have you here, Mike. I like your is that Uncle Sam as a skeleton, or is that what's his name, Eddie from Iron Maiden? It's there already. Damn, says Mike Edwards. Yeah, it happens quickly, but I gotta say it is so nice. Like, okay, so Mondays and Wednesday nights, sometimes both. This week it was both, but usually it's just one night a week. We'll do an interview. And before that, I don't want to say tense, but I want to have a good interview, and I'm involving someone else, and they're taking time out of their schedule to talk to me. So I want it to go right. Before Thursday Night Knives, yes, I want it to go right, but I'm also relaxed because it's like I'm hanging out down here in the man cave with a bunch of knife friends. And if you were all here, you would definitely not fit into this space. So this is the way we do it. And I just always look forward to Thursday night. Mark Salva, nice to have you here, Mark. Good evening, Knife Junkies, he says, from the shitty state of New York. You know what? I spent time in New York City. I loved it at that time. It was Giuliani days and early Bloomberg days, and things were on lock. It was nice. But before that, I spent a lot of time in upstate New York, in Saratoga Springs and that area. And man, I love it. It's a beautiful state. It just so happens you have you've had a succession of pretty bunk governors. And the one right now, man, whew, she's chief among them, Ms. Hochul. Honey Bear 85, nice to have you here, Honey Bear. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and everyone. And it looks like 2 beers, but I have a little wiki. So cheers to you, sir. And to James. So I gave my wife and I gave my brother-in-law a Seiko. It was nice. He's always wanted a Seiko watch. And last year I got him a watch. I got him a Pagani Omega tribute watch, if you will. So something that looks very much like an Omega, but doesn't say Omega on it. And this year I know he loves Seikos, so that's what we got. And I'm happy. Both watches are awesome. As a matter of fact, those Pagani watches tell awesome time. It's because I believe they have a Seiko movement or caliber inside of them. Most of the Pagani veggies and such. Oh, okay. So what knives are you using to cut these veggies, Robert? Are we talking straight up kitchen knives, or are you someone who likes to test out their tall wire, for instance, on a cucumber? Some people like to do that. Hello, says Josh 33025. Josh, how you doing? Is this Josh, is this? Excuse me. Is this you? A little indigestion from the pizza tonight. Also, you'll have to excuse me. Jay McConnell, nice to have you here, Jay. Evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Happy Thursday Night Knives and happy Nova Day. Indeed, happy Nova Day. Now, I have my spreadsheet here with all the Nova buyers and their numbers. Well, I don't have to pull it out right now, but I will be correlating numbers to people and addresses because some people requested certain numbers, 1 through 23, and you will be getting those, and that's that. Good show every week, a new name every week. You two, what movie's that from? Every week, you two. Get it, Bob? He says. Well, good to have you here, Cheeto. Whatever you're going by, there's always Cheeto in it, so I'm going to take it. If you say Handyman 3 times, does he appear? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Is this something that younger people do? I don't know. And they look in the mirror, Bloody Mary and that whole thing. Ned Knives. I use my knives at work to open up coffee bags. I make cold brew coffee for my day job. Oh, Ned. That's awesome. Ned, I worked in a coffee shop for about 3 or 4 years, one in particular that I liked a lot. Before barista existed, I was doing that kind of stuff. We did some espresso drinks, but we really specialized in just like really nice drip coffee. It was awesome. I love coffee and I loved working around it. And then I worked in a really fast-paced daily sort of every morning, every commute time. It was wild. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Joseph S. Nice to have you here, Joseph. Good evening, he says. Well, good evening to you, sir. Let's see. Am I still freezing up a bit? Let's see. Let's do this. I'm going to go here. This over here. This is the inner director in me coming out. And here I'm freezing up a lot on this camera. So let's see. Is this what we look like over here? Is this working? Okay, that is working. I'm going to close this one, Jim. And there we go. Okay, so I can hear my dog outside. I left him outside. He's like doing that one polite bark, like, bark, don't forget I'm here. Like I'm outside still. Is that cool with you? Mike, Luck Knives, good to have you here, Mike. And yes, the one you were working on this week was fantastic. Looked really, really nice. Luck Knives is reestablished in a new spot with a new shop, and he's getting back up to speed. He's up to speed apparently, and your knives are looking really cool. Once upon a reset, do you buy the Work Tough Gear Pantera, or is that Panthera? No, did you? No, I did not. Okay. I want to get the Lil Evil Fighter. I think that's what it's called. I would like to get one of those. And I would like to get the Lanzetta Bowie. Lanzetta, I think it's called. I really like Work Tough Gear, and I love this thing right here. But you know, the Puzon series and all the Bowies. I want the Bowies. The stuff like the knife that Scab has been showing off, very cool. And I love I could just zone out watching him hack and chop at those big pieces of treated wood with those giant Work Tough Gear knives. But most of them are not quite my style. But this, you know, it's compelling on a number of different dimensions. Same thing as the Puzon Bowies. They get larger and larger, and they kind of max out at this. But at their smaller sizes, they're more Bowie-esque with the swooping clip points and all that. And they're really, really nice. And the cool thing is it's 6 people who work in that Work Tough factory in Taiwan. And so they're not putting out tons of product, but what they are putting out is reasonably priced and awesome. And also show little signs of the fact that they weren't made by machine. I mean, they were made with machines, but they were made by hand by men with machines. So yeah, I dig the Work Tough, and that's the long answer for no. I haven't gotten that Pantera. Not sure how they pronounce that. Blade Ogre says, "Cool, glad to hear you and Brass Brigade are finally getting together." Yep, first time we tried, I was sick. I got sick, had to cancel, and so this time we got together, and we're gonna try a third time. He's gonna go to his tattoo shop. He's a tattoo artist, which is pretty cool. He was in his shop, different part, his private shop, when we were interviewing this time, and he had a cool background. Whole bunch of flash on the wall. Apex Alchemy, what's up, Mr. Bobby D? Nice to have you here, sir. As always, we have Billy, Apex Alchemy, with us. Dion Page, what did you say about extras up for grabs? Oh, extras up for grabs. Possibly. Now I have to make sure that certain family members are taken care of first. Chief among them, my wife. Robert Douglas says, but I will, when I know what I have available, I will offer them up. You better believe it. Robert Douglas says, we'll be listening, busy doing Rob stuff. LOL. Well, thanks. Keep listening and do that Rob stuff, because, you could just really not watch and just listen to the strains of my voice, and go mad. Damien 05, this is May 2030 or May 1930, or maybe just May 30th, Damien. All right, Damon, nice to have you here, Damon. Hey, Bob, really appreciate your podcast. Helps me get through the day. Oh my God, thank you. That's like a huge compliment, because there are other people who do that for me. I daily tune into, usually it's news, but I've grown to really love the people who present it, and so I understand the value of that, and that makes me proud. So thank you. And also to Jim, because without Jim, this wouldn't happen. Jeremy Nedro, hello, everyone. Well, Jeremy, very nice to have you here, sir. Let's this old sword, fading and freezing. Jim to the rescue. That's right, fading and freezing. He wrote it up. Okay, go to the bailout camera. There's always a bailout camera. All right, all that said about the bailout camera, I think it's time to get to a pocket check. I was not carrying this. However, I wouldn't mind it. I really wouldn't, walking around with that, and not to be threatening, but just as an accessory. Men don't get to accessorize the way women get to accessorize, and I don't think that's right. And by the way, women should be able to accessorize like that also. This is what I had in my front right pocket today. I absolutely love this knife. This was my first Riot, and I don't have many of them. And this is my only Riot. I only have 2 Riot knives, one under their own shingle here, and then the other one is the Antimatter by Arcane Design, made by them, OEM by them. But this knife is just so good. It's a perfect Americanized Tonto. You have that really nice upswept tip with the rounded, bellied front front cutting portion, a flat ground blade here. You have the hollow grind there, and then an exquisite action. First flipper knife that I had, that I really took note of the action. Before that, it wasn't as important, but yeah, this thing is awesome. Carried that today. Didn't use it, I don't think. Did I use that? No, I did not. I used my slip joint for, yes, the hardcore task of bread and sandwich making. Lately, I've been into getting a baguette. I have a pound of ham and a pound of cheese in the fridge at work, and I have some condiments, ketchup, mustard, or I'm sorry, mustard, mayo, and butter. And I will put some combination of those on a ham sandwich lately. It's just what I get into. Are you guys like that? Kind of a bachelor thing, even though I'm not a bachelor, where you get into one food and you kind of eat it repeatedly and start to appreciate the real subtleties. I mean, when I was a real poor bachelor, that's what I thrived on. You're like, this lentil soup is better 3 days in than it was 2 days, every meal lentil soup. I mean, I did that for a while. Anyway, so this is the Jack Wolf Knives Pioneer Jack, based on a farmer's jack, or a sodbuster if you're a Case, or a bullnose if you're GEC. But you know what I'm talking about. It's the single-bladed American farmer's worker's knife, and I absolutely love this. I think he did a really good job with maintaining the utility and spirit of the handle while adding these sort of angular facets, and making it a Barlow with that nice big 1/3 bolster there with the triple fluting. Very beautifully designed handle. And then you have this awesome blade, fully flat ground, thicker than the other blades, and noticeably so, I gotta say. Not in a bad way, but you can tell as you cut with this that it's a more robust uh, geometry. You could, I feel like this gives more of more resistance when you're cutting through stuff, uh, like thinner stuff, than the other Jack Wolf knives, but also gives me confidence that you could absolutely horse this through many more materials than the much thinner ground ones. In any case, that's just the feeling I get from using it. That's Ultim, a very tough, very high temperature, tolerant plastic. It's not just cool looking with that sort of translucent or transparent amber. It's also a very, very tough and heat resistant plastic. So I love knowing that, because Ultim, I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about it. I like the way it looks sometimes. I really like it here because there isn't cutouts. There aren't cutouts and stuff like that on the titanium liner here. That starts to stick in my craw a little bit. But in this case, I really like the execution. So I think the Ultim gets to shine. And then right next to that blasted gray titanium, I think it looks great. Okay, next up, I had on my belt, chair is slipping down there. On my belt, riding horizontal, I had the TKL Knives Combatant on me today. This is a great little knife that mostly gets home use. Today, I was carrying this all last weekend around the house and realized how great it was. Not realized, but when I got this, I also got the Night Stalker at the same time, and the Night Stalker definitely jumped in line and cut this one out for a little while. This is the one I originally wanted to get. He said, check out the Night Stalker, send it along, and I fell in love with that immediately. This one took a little bit longer, but it's a great little utility knife. This handle is awesome. I can just about get 4 fingers on there. Your mileage may vary if you've got bigger hands and such, but I can get a full 4-finger grip on this knife. But at the same time, it's short enough to stash on your body without having it print much, or without having it riding up too high so that it pokes you in the love handles and all that. Great utility blade, full almost very high height flat grind there. Really, really nice swedge. It punctures like crazy. This thing is a great, great knife. And you know what? It's could be very handy for self-defense or that kind of thing, but it's kind of non-threatening. I mean, look at it. It's about the size of the Jack Wolf, maybe a little, well, definitely a little bit larger, but it's not a threatening knife, but you could use it for, grim purposes or whatever you want to say, easily. Well, I guess you could use a hammer for that also. But anyway, I love this knife, and it would make a great fighting knife, but doesn't really look like it. That's what I mean. All right, last up for emotional support, man, it's been so hard to not be carrying this. I love the Civivi Sentinel Strike. Um, you know, this is cool. This whole integral FRN backstrap is cool, but the looks of this are kind of, take it or leave it. But the action and the way this blade cuts really, 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 really get me. Really take the cake. So very, very psyched to have this knife, and just have it at my desk during work while I'm editing, whatever I'm doing, and just flipping it. And usually I'm in a room where no one else can hear, so it doesn't drive people nuts. All right, so that's what I had on me today. The front right pocket, also front right pocket on the belt, and then in the back pocket and just on the desk. What did you guys have? Let me know, and we'll get to talking about it. Let me get these suckers out of the way. Oh, poor Argo, buddy boy, outside. He's like, let me in. I've been forgotten. I'm like, dude, you're outside, man. Go live a dog's life. And he's got a whole fenced in backyard. He can carouse in. That's the word. Dion says, if I had a talwar, I'd test it on bug outs. Yes, I like the spirit. Yes, take that bug out and chop it in half with a talwar. Actually, I love my bug out, but I love this better. Look at this thing. This is spectacular. All right. So let's say Robert says, yep, big open L's, because I neglect my kitchen knives. Oh, nice. Oh, big open L's. Yeah, those are great. I actually use a number 10 as a go-to non-dress going out to dinner steak knife. If I'm going out to a fancy dinner and I need a steak knife, it doesn't happen often, but I'll take my GEC 65 with the it's not the Arnold Palmer. What's it called? But it's got the tortoise shell handle. I love that. Northern Knives from Alaska. How's it going, sir? Hello, or sirs and ma'ams. Hello, Bob and Junkies from Alaska. Well, nice to have you here. I think last time you had a couple of people listening. That's why I'm can't tell who I'm talking to at the moment. Dave says, use my Civivi Baltaire today to cut a thread off my pants, cut my sandwich at work, and open a candy bar. This is what we do. Yeah. Today I used, I did not use this at all today, I don't think. But I used the Jack Wolf Knives, Pioneer Jack, to open 2 bags of Wegmans Mountain Mix, a delicious nut mix. And then it cut 2 times, it cut a baguette. I've been into the baguettes. I told you the whole thing. You don't need to hear it again. Robert Strebin, nice to have you here, Robert. Hey, Bob, I'm on my break at work, and I finally got a chance to catch you. Well, awesome, man. Thank you. I haven't been on a live chat since the time your wife was on here, and I asked your back wall about the back wall of awesomeness. Robert, I did a maybe it's time to update because I have another wall of awesomeness off camera now. But I did a podcast a long time ago, a little while ago, about the knives behind me. But I think the configuration has changed. So maybe it's time for an update. There is some cool stuff. It's all cool stuff. And it's all very sentimental stuff, too. Either representing a time in my life when I got them or people who got them for me. Mark Salva says, hey, Bob, are you getting the most BW you can? There is a lot of stutter and lockup. What's BW? What are you talking about? What does that mean? Bandwidth. Yes, I am actually. I think it's due to the camera I was using, which I'm currently turning off. And hopefully that's made a difference. I hope it has. Anyway, Byron says, great shorts this week, Bob, with the Jimmy Slash Chopper and the Predator Hunter. What else does a growing boy need? Exactly. I mean, those are 2 real wallopers. And by that, I mean, you could You could lop some stuff off with both of those. James Moore, nice to have you here, sir. Bob, Jim, and friends, come to the California Custom Knife Show about 7 weeks till showtime. Very nice. And I will add to that, come to the Texas Custom Knife Show first weekend of November. I will be there, and I will be part of the festivities. I'm very much looking forward to that. Dave says 2 new knives on the horizon here. CRKT Redemption, very nice. That's the new gambler folder dagger style knife from Ken Onion, and the Compliance. You son of a gun. Compliance Edge, I think, is what you're talking about. Compliance Edge knives, DCK bronze and gray in double edge. I love Compliance Edge, and I've been just not buying his knives for like 8 years. I remember I got hip to Compliance knives when I was in the hospital when my second daughter was being born. Chris Corliss, good to have you here with us, Chris. Evening all, checking in from class tonight. Today's carry, 2 knives, was my Sebenza 31 Tonto. Oh, you're in class. Tonto in Magna Cut and the Northwoods Fall Creek Small Warrencliffe Fixie. Chris, get back to your studies, sir. We will be here. You got to take care of business. Nice having you with us. Don't interrupt class. Will be Hinderer XM24 Battlefield Pickup Sponto. Very nice. And the Wee Ziphius. I love the Wee Ziphius. I said and as if that was it. Spider Coast Smock. Concept Pretatu. Tai Tonto. Axial Shift. The Begleiter XL. I love that by Kaiser. The Spyderco Ronin 2 in a custom sheath, the Olight Baton 3, the Arkfeld UV, and the Wee Baculus pen. Scott Baculus pen. All right, I like it. I like it. Luck Knives. I do like that Ultim JKW knives. Yeah, me too. I gotta say, one thing about this is minor, but a little chamfer right on the edge would have been nice. Just a little chamfer. But you don't need it or have it on the titanium bolster. So I think that's why there isn't one there. But I'm considering just glancing a little sandpaper over it a couple of times just to knock the edge off. It's not sharp. I'm just being a diva. Dion Page says SRK 3V, Recon 1 Tonto, Spike Tonto, Ironfly, Zesty. All right. The first 3, of course, I'm way familiar with, but the Ironfly. Oh. God. That's the one you won from here. Okay. Sweet. I'm glad. Like that last one seems so familiar. And Dave is the man who gave it to us, and it came to you. So, yeah, memories are short. Today's carry, the Reich S05 in Damasteel, the Mokutai clip backspacer. Okay. Wait, let me start this from the top. This, because I know what you're talking about here. Today's carry, Reich S05 in Damasteel with Mokutai clip backspacer and pivot. Tucson TS 426 Killage by Tepe Designs. That's cool. Just out. So this is a second run. It must be, because I remember he had a Killage before. And the Max Ace Meerkat. That's the one. That's a beauty in S90V and the Olight Seeker 4 Pro. Very nice. Killage, a sword from the Middle East with that upward sweep, and that Tepe design knife really captures the spirit of that sword. Ned Knives, nice to have you here, Ned. Carried my freshly sharpened PM2 today. Ooh, nice. Did you do the sharpening or did you have someone do it? Either way, it works for me. Blade Ogre, carrying the Sniper LPC, the Giant Mouse Rio or REO in Magna Cut, the John Demko River Wolf, the ZT0308, the Mercator Black Cat. I need to get one of those as a proud Opinel owner and owner of other sort of ethnographic cheap folders. The Mercator is one I need to get. The GEC Bullet Cowboy Granddaddy Barlow, the real steel Barlow, and the GEC paring knife, and the sleazy ogre. Very nice. Very nice. So what is that? 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only 9 today. What did you do? How did you get through the day, sir? I'm just kidding, of course, but very, very nice carry. And that Mercator, man, I need to get one of those. Byron Kennedy says, my carry today was a lone old timer 123 OT Jack in JO Ventures Outdoors leather slip. That sounds awesome. 123 OT Jack. I'm not sure I know what that is, but I love OT, obviously, old timer. I love the old timers. I have one at my desk at work. I have a Schrade old timer. It's a new old timer, but it does the job, and it has the saw cut Delrin. And let the dog in. She's probably sleeping, but I can hear the dog freaking out. Let me in. What's going on? This never happens. This is highly irregular. Ket McNessart says, my carry today is an LT Wright Chimanese. All right, let me start this over. My carry today is an LT Wright Chimanese, a Spyderco Native 5 in crew wear, a Jack Wolf Knives Feel Good Jack, still one of the best Jack. I love that knife. And a Wingard Wearables Micro Dick Pick. Very nice. I need to get the standard. I don't need to go Magnum, and I don't need micro. I want the standard. I think it'd be cool to have. Apex Alchemy says, I carried stuff today, but didn't get to use any of it. Well, sometimes that happens. But what did you carry? Don't just lead us on, man. Never Enough Knives 007 says, went for an evening hike and took my Cold Steel 4, I guess you did, 4 Max Scout, a vintage Western W84 fixed blade. Nice. And my Vic rucksack. Used the saw on the rucksack to cut down a walking stick and the W84 to carve it a bit. Never Enough Knives. That sounds like an awesome evening activity. Anything strange happened in the woods? Anything weird? Did you feel like you were being watched? Were you paced at all? Let me know. Honeybear85 says, carrying the K390 Lamia. I forgot. We're speaking to an aristocrat. He has a Steingraber Performance Knives Lamia. And is the envy of us all. Not jealous, envious. A Mosier IM. Again, I repeat the same thing I said before. And a Nice Guy Machine Co. side piece this evening. Okay, I don't know Nice Guy Machine Co., but I like the name side piece. This is my side piece right here. LL Coil J, nice to have you here. Hello, junkies. Emerson Mini 15 in my pocket. I love the 15. It's the 7 plus the Commander. I have the Super, the large one. It was a gift from Bill. Thank you, Bill. But not this Bill. Apex, how you doing? Fellas, don't forget to like the video and little stuff. That little stuff helps so much. Thank you very much, Billy. Yes, that's right. Stab, slash, punch, elbow, knee, headbutt, that like button. Riyadh Exo Gravity Knife says, B for Baron. B for Baron. Nice to have you with us here, sir. That Riyadh Exo Gravity Knife is cool. I have had on loan from Doug, 5-door. I've had the Exo K, the Karambit. I should have brought it over here. It'd be a good fidget toy. Luck Knife says, carried my Teravantium Squall and Koenig Arius. My Friday starts in a few hours. I'll be carrying my Ron Best and Teravantium Squall again. Wow, man. That Teravantium Squall is cool. I like Terrain 365 stuff, and I think that's the one I like the most. Oh, no. Actually, the one I like the most is the one that's based on the shoot knife. It's a folding version of the Loveless shoot knife. Fernando Salome says, carrying Spyderco Yo Jumbo, the big one. I love the Yo Jumbo. I have it out here. Where this one's mine right here. Love this thing. I took down the center partition there. Makes it a much more comfortable grip for me personally. I love this knife. 5-door. Nice to have you here, sir. Skinny XM18. Cut boxes, cucumbers, and a cable in my yard. Tonight, Miguran Moyaral and the mini Archbishop added skiffs to both tonight. Oh, very nice. Skiff bearings. I'm seeing a lot of people put those on their knives, like they're more and more. Have a Knife Day says, I'll be going to the upcoming custom, California Custom Knife Show. Very nice. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're in California too. Not that you wouldn't be going otherwise, but I used the Chimanese to cut some apples, and I opened a couple of boxes and packages with the Native 5. No usage for the Feel Good Jack or the Micro Dick Pic, but they were ready if I needed if the need came up. Yeah, Micro Dick Pic, it's like having a finger, an extra finger, as Zach Wingard likes to say. So, Jim, let me ask your opinion, Jim. Should we do the giveaway first, or should I open this box of No-VA-1s? Dwayne Letterman, nice to have you here, Dwayne. Howdy, all. Para 3 today. That's it. Okay, Dwayne, you are getting to something that I've always kind of idealized, which is the ability to do that and just be like, yeah, one knife. Like, obviously, what do I need 3 or 4 knives for? I don't. But so I respect it. Nicely done. I used to think that way with clothes. Like, what if I just had like 2 or 3 shirts? Well, I know that's not me. Now I know that. But at the time, I idealized that too, like sort of an ascetic lifestyle, where you're just kind of living like Buddha. But hundreds of knives later, obviously, I blew that attempt. James Moore says, Carrie, Mini Arius and the Raylight LAN Apple flashlight. So 2 Mini Ariuses. Well, no. The other was a full-size Arius, but we have some Koenig in the house. That is nice. All right. On break from class. Oh, Chris, nice to see you. We'll catch the rest of the stream tomorrow morning while walking the dog. Have a good one, junkies. Chris Corliss, have a great class, man. Study hard. Focus. It'll all pay off. It really will. Ned Knife says, I hand sharpen my knives on DMT stones, then use a strop with some 1 micron stroppy stuff. Very nice, Ned. All right, I think it's time. I can't wait. Let's do this, shall we? Quack, nice to see you, Quack. Hey, yo, listening while working on a batch of frame locks. I like hearing that, Quack. I want to see one of these frame locks. Do I follow you on Instagram? I must. But I'm going to write it down and make sure that I do, because I'm assuming that you're going to show them off there. All right, let's see. Northern Knife says, carrying a Boker Urban Trapper with Cocobolo, one of my favorite woods on knives, a Benchmade Shootout, a Tactical Turn Med Bolt Action Tie Pen, Paramilitary 2 in Crew Carta. So that's crew wearing my Carta, right? Classy. And a Lynch Northwest tie enter without knocking pry bar. Oh, without nicking pry bar. Northern Knives. I like the cut of your jib. That's a cool blend of materials. That last pry bar, like, would that I could integrate a pry bar into my, I have one in my bag. It's one that from Jason Stout. He sent me one and I was very grateful. Haven't used it for anything, but it's really nice and I have a cool fob on it but I don't pry stuff. And if I do, I never think to use my pry bar. So anyway, you're inspiring me. That's what this pocket check is about. Scotch and Things. SMF, Scotch and Things. Nice to have you here. How about Bourbon and Things? SMF and XM24 at work. He's saying at work, Bob. Geez, keep it down with the bourbon. Then switched to a different SMF and SNG when I got home. Okay. Lots and lots of boxes in both places. Very nice. Boxes to open up with your SMG and SMF. I have the SMF. I had the SNG in ProTech form. Great knife. Dion Page says, yes, you do need 2 or 4 knives. What happens if you got to throw one at the bad guy and his friends? Yeah, right, exactly. And then give one to your friend, and then you go back to back and hack your way out. I know. It is true. You do need multiple knives, but sometimes I like to live under the delusion that I could get by with just one. Seppuku Sushi says, nice name and good to have you here, Seppuku. I picked my teeth with my knife and then they kicked me out of the bar. Very nice. I like that, man. I like that. You march to your own drum. Quack says, you do, Bob, at QP Blades. Okay, awesome. All right, I will. QPblades.com. All right, let me write that. Hang on one second. Oh, you do follow me, dumbass. Okay, thanks. All right, Kepmuck says, yes, show us those beautiful Nova 1s. All right, let's do it. I will use a Nova 1 to open the box. My Nova 1, the only one that I have right here. Okay, let's see. I'll get up. I'll move the mic over here so I can talk into it. But let's see if we can. All right, we're right up close. Let's see. I didn't. All right. Well, this is going to be good. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what these beauties look like. I know they're going to be a little bit different from my whatchamacallit, my prototype here, but okay. So this is heavy and filled with 28 knives. All right. Let's see. Nova 1. Okay, I like the way already. I like how he packed it. It's like entombed in tape. All right, let's see. All right. Oh, it's like in Dogs of War when they open the 55-gallon drum full of Uzis and they open up one of them. All right, let's just open up one of them. All right. Nomadic Adventures says, I want one so bad. Well, we're going to be doing another run, and we're also going to do a Nova 2, which will have a Warncliffe blade. I wasn't supposed to say. Oh, my God. This is even cooler than my own. Wait. Hang on. I shouldn't say that. Oh. Dude. Okay, this is number 17 of 27. Oh, manaj. Oh, that is sweet. Oh, man. He moved the jimping up. It's got the green liners here. It's got the number. Oh, my God. This feels so good in hand. I mean, mine feels really good in hand, too. But, oh, wow. This is awesome. These are awesome. Okay, and here's the sheath. This is beautifully done. I love how small a footprint the sheath has. This is even smaller than mine here. Wow, this is awesome. Whoa. Okay, hang on. Well, has good retention. I'm gonna look through all of these. This is 17. I have the numbers in my spreadsheet, and wow, this is so cool. Look at all these Nova 1s. Okay, so the Nova 1s will come in a little box with some hogtooth knives, stickers, and Knife Junkie. Look at this. Knife Junkie stickers, and oh man, I'm so excited. This makes me happy. And yeah, like not only because Not only because it's nice to see a project come to fruition, which, I see that happen a lot at work, but those are projects that I do for other people. This is a project. Well, I did it for other people too, but obviously it's something that I love, and I cannot wait to get these in the hands of y'alls. Anyway, Have a Knife Day says, Bob, you better watch out or you'll want to keep the whole litter for yourself. I know each one is their own unique snowflake of a knife, and each one deserves a life of fulfillment right here in Northern Virginia, the namesake of the knife itself. Nomadic Adventure says the fit in handle is very well engineered. I agree. I agree. It's really this sort of partial Anzo pattern in the middle. Really is the perfect placement for little grooves for your fingers to fall into. Oh, and by the way, you notice the Knife Junkie logo on the new ones or on the ones that are shipping out is much smaller, but you get the hog tooth on the other side, which is very nice. In that beautiful maroon micarta. Oh my God. I'm very psyched. I'm very, very excited about this. I can't wait to get these in the mail, and I can't wait to hear feedback, you guys. It's really cool, really awesome. And we're going to do this with Warncliffe blade, and there are other projects happening elsewhere too, which is also exciting. And I'm not going to talk about that but it's not going to take too long until I can talk about it. But I'm very excited. I have another project in the works with another great knife maker that I love. And this and those will be a little more widely available, which is also cool. So I'm very excited about that. So lots of good things looking up in the knife world. Let's give these Gentleman Junkie. My wife came home from watching her stories with her girlfriend down the street and just let the dog in. So that's good. I don't have to worry about that. Hey, they look great, says Byron Kennedy. Kudos to Matt at Hogtooth Knives. Holy mackerel. No kidding. Kudos to Matt. So he's a friend of mine at this. He's become a friend of mine, and I love his work. But I forget, like, this dude has been making knives for a long ass time. But from before he was a Marine Corps scout sniper, so he's a badass, and he's a badass knife maker, and he's been doing it since he was a young dude, and he is just so good. He's so good. As a matter of fact, before he finished this batch, he finished 30 knives for I think it was the last graduating Marine Corps Scout Sniper class, because they're phasing out the Marine Corps Scout Sniper platoons, which seems totally ridiculous to me, but what do I know? But anyway, he knocked those out, and he was doing these simultaneously. Amazing stuff. Jesse, Warncliffe sounds excellent. Yes, it is. And I talk frequently about a certain angle. It's about 40 degrees, 38, 39, 40 degrees for the perfect slope of a Warncliffe to get something very utilitarian, but something also very aggressive and stabby. And so it will have that magical angle on the tip. That's for sure. Greg Maroney, nice to see you here, sir. What's up, y'all? He says, well, what's up for you, man? How are you? Will be Bob. Tim mentioned the other project the other day. He did? Oh, well, okay. There you go. Did he? Well, I'm excited about it. It's going to be awesome. And there are some other people who are interested in it before it even gets made and produced like widely. So I'm interested. I'm excited about that too. But that's cool. All right, so let's do this giveaway. This is the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway for September 2023. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? And it is a Am I Seeing Double Civivi combo. We have the Lumi and the Key V or Key 5 or Kai 5 or Kai V Plus. That's what this knife is. And I just don't know how it's pronounced. But a beautiful Kiradashi front flipper, flexes from small, unassuming and innocent looking EDC knife to really gnarly and capable Pikal last ditch knife with that upwards angle and the tip up high by the pivot. So really, really nice knife. All that ridiculousness out of the way. Very nice knife. Very nice front flipper. I can only do it with my right hand though. You do the reach around. I think it's hilarious that people are calling this the reach around. But yeah, you can do the reach around, or you can use your thumb. Really, really nice. I love the ivory next to the blasted steel, which is written real small. I can't tell what that steel is. So it's going to be coming in this own. Oh, this is I do know this Nitro V. That's right. This is coming with this other Civivi in this really cool O Life pouch. You can put cash and cards in here, your knives in here, or a flashlight and a knife. There's another pocket here. You got the soft side of the hook and loop, and then a zipper for your change. You can put a little fob on this, fill it with change, and use it as a whacker. What do they call those things? A sap. Okay, second knife is the Lumi, and this one is a Justin Lundquist design. Beautiful little knife. This one also smacks of Japanese utility to me. A little more on the Quaken side with that upswept pointy blade with the but nice and hollow ground, and a great little utility knife here. G10 contoured handle, front flipper. All right, so this is the Gentleman Junkie Am I Seeing Double Civivi package giveaway for September 2023, plus a little bit of O Life in there with that pouch. So who wants this? Which Gentleman Junkie would like to have this? But it can't be 5-door because he's won a lot. No, I'm just kidding. If it happens to be 5-door, he's going to be our luckiest guy so far. All right, let's do this. Jim, let's bring up the wheel of destiny, shall we? Thank you, my good man. All right, let's spin in 3, 2, and 1. There it goes. There it goes. It's going to tease, so don't get too excited. Don't hold your breath, but it's going to. You have won the Am I Seeing Double Civivi package. All right, I will be sending this your way across the pond this coming week. I think I'll call it a shave kit or something like that on the customs form. That's what I say men's grooming materials, and usually that works because it could be, gotta clean up around the mustache. So very, very happy to say, Mr. VC256, you will be getting this. And actually, you will be getting this in the same package that you will be getting your No-VA-1. So that's convenient. All right. See, so that's what you get if you go over to Patreon and you join. You could become the winner of these kind of knives. Now, this is also made possible by Dave over at This Old Sword Blade Reviews, who gave us these knives, and Olight, who gave me this pouch. So this is all headed towards you, Mr. VC. So thank you, one and all, and thank you, Dave and Olight. All right, put that over there. Dion says, King Junkie, why is the sax has been overtaken and forgotten about with the invention of Warncliffe? Ain't they the same? No. Not really. Okay. I think now this is just kind of off the top of my head. Warncliffe, I think, was really more born out of folding slip joints, like that straight edge with the very acute point and then the rounded back. Warncliffe, but only with the I think that came out of that. I think the sax, oftentimes has a straight edge. Sometimes it has a gradual belly. But the point is always down low. Um, I'm just thinking out loud, but I kind of think the sax and the Scramma sax, that was their big one, their big sax that they would use on raids as a primary weapon. I think that those are a little bit different than the Wharncliffe. Yeah, I think they're different from the Wharncliffe. Though I kind of use the terms interchangeably. I'll call something like this a sax sometimes, and it's inaccurate, but I like that without the sax, the Wharncliffe probably wouldn't happen. I'm sure the Wharncliffe is the domesticated cat to the Sax's tiger, you know. See, that's how I wrote papers in school. Just start yammering. Oh, thank you, Jim. I do apologize. Before we did this, I forgot to mention who the junkies are. These are the Gentleman Junkies, the patrons at the $10 level, which are the lion's share of our junkies. So I should probably mention all of them next time. But we have Five Door. That's Doug. We have Ben Belkin, Byron Kennedy, Caleb Townsend, Cam Michael, Colin Maison Pierre, Dante, Dion Page, Edwin Callow, Ezekiel Yates, Francis Valaire, Grim Reaper, Jay McConnell, Jesse Tellis. He may have dipped. But Jock, we have JVF, K Mason, Kevin Moore, Martin Gamboa, Mr. VC256, tonight's winner, Never Enough Knives 007, Scott Nelson, Sean Curry, Tom Kim, and Will Boyer, or as you know him, Will B. Thank you guys. Thank you one and all. And then we have a few at the $5 and a few at the $3 support levels. Thank you to all of you as well. It's greatly appreciated and helps keep the lights on, as they say. All right. Well, that out of the way. Let me know how you used your knives today. I am curious. I do want to know. How did I use my knives? Really? I used the Pioneer Jack as a baguette cutter and a butter knife. And oddly enough, I'm starting to appreciate very sharp knives as butter knives almost better, because they can take very, very thin layers off of a cold pad of butter. So that's how I use my knives today. It's very soft core. Kind of wish I had a better story for you, but I work in an office. I mean, I did flip them a lot, but did not use them a lot. So as we get into that and you start talking about that, let me show off a couple of knives here that sort of got my attention tonight. One of them is the Grizzly V2. We were talking about saxes. This thing kind of reminds me a little bit of that. It is a field cleaver, if you will. Greg Maroney says, I'm always opening up stuff for my kids and wife. Something food prep and sometimes food prep and of course opening packages. Yeah. Sometimes it's very gratifying to just cut an apple in half with the knife you've pulled out of your pocket. You know what I mean? Give it to the children, and they get to see their dad being resourceful and using a knife. And wow, Dad, he'd pull out a pocket knife. He could do anything. And then, yeah, that's cool. Speaking of which, my dad's cousin just passed away, and he was a tough old Italian dude. So cool, old school dude, very nice guy. But you would not want to be on his bad side. And he ran a landscaping business. And I just want to say, hats off to you, Uncle John. May you be kicking ass in the afterworld for here and evermore. Heaven being the afterworld. Heaven. Nomadic Adventure says, that is a meat cleaver with a tip. Yeah, it is. And it's following in some traditions of fighting knives that I like, while adhering completely to the kitchen knife format here. This is obviously a camp kitchen knife, but in having the blade be the guard and in having a point, this I feel you could vanquish a foe with this. Craig Vincent, nice to have you here. A little bit late. but I got here. Hey, you know what? It's come as you are, Craig. We can't all be everywhere on time all the time. That is what I've learned living with a Bolivian. Dion Page says, with SRK3V, I shaped some small pines I've been growing for the last few years for potential Christmas trees. Very nice, Dion. That's awesome. That's the Cold Steel survival rescue knife. Probably one of the most, I don't know, that is a very, very highly used knife. I have heard that a lot of like SEALs have used that knife. That was issued at one point. That is a very well used knife out there. The SRK. I love it. Jesse says, I flipped my rat too some, but didn't really use any knives to cut today. You flipped your rat too some. Yeah, I did too. Not my rat too, but you know, I get you. Greg says, what a tip. I don't know why I said, oh, because it's in all caps. Yeah, you could make that work, right? Because half of it cuts. The other half is very thin. Northern Knives says, look at that high and tight flat grind. I am telling you. I mean, this thing is 2¼ inches broad, very thin, and then fully flat ground. It's a laser beam. What can I say? It is very sharp. And this one in 14C28N, a nice upgrade from V1's OS 8. And OS 8 is not a bad kitchen steel if you use wooden or plastic cutting blocks. By the way, what's up with glass cutting blocks from like the 70s and 80s? What the hell, man? I still see those around. I'm like, who cuts on glass? Jeez, man. Like, even if you're not concerned with your edge, it's uncomfortable. It's like scratching your nails on a chalkboard. It is horrific. Yeah, I also used my my combatant for practice. I did a lot of drawing with this knife because it's got a short handle, and it's probably got the shortest handle of all the knives I EDC, fixed blades. And this thing being right up on the front, you know, you got to practice lifting the shirt and grabbing the knife. This has two really nice peaks here and here that you really can easily grab onto. They're almost like sub hilts, you know, in their utility. And you just draw it. Frequently, I have it in reverse grip. Really like this knife. It's very, like I said before, it's kind of it's sneaky because it doesn't look like much in terms of being like a self-defense knife, but it could do that job really nicely. And that's pretty much what it was designed for. Nomadic Adventures says, fun fact, Navy SEALs have a book writer course to get PIN. What? Are you serious? Oh, that's a joke. That's funny. Yeah. Jack Carr got that with flying colors. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't have a dog in that fight. How do anyone who's watching this, who served in the military, first of all, thank you, because I was the direct beneficiary of your service. So thank you for that. But also, how do you feel about modern day soldiers writing their stories? I know that some people, like guys my age who were doing stuff that was specialized back in my day, kind of had this philosophy like, you don't talk about it. But there have been a lot of people talking about it. And to me, it's good as an outsider because it sheds some light on what that experience is like. I mean, just in a theoretical sense, because without experiencing it, you know, how can you really know? But also, it's an opportunity for people who have served the country and who have experienced really horrible, traumatic things to talk about it and get it out, you know, whereas previous generations held those things in very stoically and heroically, oftentimes saving the people around them from the information or the memories they had in their heads, but also isolating them and alienating them and probably causing different problems downstream. So anyway, is there anyone out there who maybe served and has an opinion on that? I'd be interested to find out what you think. Since I got no new knives this week, I'm going to show off a couple of oldies but goodies, because I like doing that. And this one has been coming up. I know I showed this off last week, or 2 weeks ago, but I'm going to show it again because this thing's such a little honey and it's such an American classic. Craig Vincent says, I cut paper with a Tucson folder that came today. Very nice. Yeah. That's my level of hard use. The button is cracking wise again. Time to slap, chop, stab, slice, hack, stab, stick that button. That's right. You smart Alec. Ryan, not you, Dion. The button, of course. Ryan Vest says, late but here. Ryan, a pleasure, sir. No such thing as late. This is the internet. You can always rewind. Ryan says, let's see. Blade Ogre says, I use my knives for food all the time. Clip points are probably the best for eating with because you can pick up most food with the tip. Oh, I love that. However, the best spreader are the elephant toe. The elephant toe patterns. Yes. Spoken like a true man. I love it. He's like, if you got to spread something, you use the elephant toe. If you got to eat something, you use the clip point. I love it, man. You made my night, sir. Yeah. I used to do quite a bit of eating with knives. I guess I would have to say when I was a bachelor and before I had daughters, that was something I would do. Why not? Why not? Save yourself the dishes or the silverware. Severe T-Storm fan. Nice to have you here, sir. Today, I used one of my case knives to decorate a new piece of furniture. That's awesome. What case was it? I have here it is. I have had these two out because I had just gotten the Pioneer Jack from Jack Wolf Knives. I have 4 other Sodbuster type knives, 2 case, and then 2 GEC. But this one is my favorite right here. The yellow Delrin in CV. That case, that's probably my favorite case, besides my swayback Jack. So let me know what case you used to decorate that new piece of furniture. Loyal Group, nice to have you here, sir. Evening, gents. Sorry I'm late, he says. It's all right, man. No sorry. Only just come and hang. Dion Page says, Blade Ogre, I use my sharp finger, for steak. For that very reason, no fork needed. Sharp finger is another knife I'd like to get. Now, I've seen people, sharp finger is a classic hunting knife. I've seen people double edge them, which is very exciting to me because that's all that knife needs is a secondary edge, and it's wicked. I mean, it's already wicked. Most hunting knives, which are made to open up fleshy sacks, are great at opening up human fleshy sacks, I would imagine. So most hunting knives are look pretty wicked anyway, but that one in particular. Anyway, 1 minute knife review. Nice to have you here, sir. Hello, everybody, he says. Well, hello to you, sir. I did hard use today. Cut a tomato. Well, if it's not sharp, it might be hard to do. So hard use might be apt. Kurt Singer, nice to have you here. You hit the nail on the head with that analogy. Well, thank you, sir. When all you do is think about knives. No, I'm just kidding. I think about other stuff too. Ryan Gott's stuff. Oh, hello, people. Who is this other Ryan? Who is this other Ryan? Well, nice to have you here, Ryan Gott's stuff. Loyal Group says the Kephart is a great camp cutter spreader. Yeah, because it's got that nice upward swoop and it's got a belly on the top. It's got fat back and then a belly on the bottom. Craig Vincent says, what is your opinion on the Case Marilla and the Kinuza? Okay. I don't have an opinion because I have not, well, I do have an opinion, but it's not based on owning and carrying. It's based on observation, other people's observations, and then finally getting to check them out at Blade Show. and I really want to like them. And then another part of me just wants to say, hey, stay in your lane, Case. After all these years, you're going to come out with a locking knife and then kind of like not take it all the way. Like, I think like Ben Belkin, and not to compare the two, they're different outfits for sure. But when Ben came out with his first locking knife after 13 slip joints, and I know 13 pales in comparison with Case, I'm not trying to, but maybe this even hammers my point home even more. When he went to do the gunslinger, the bolster lock here, he really dialed in the design and perfected it, came out with it, and made something pleasing to those who already like this style of knife, not the slip joint, but this style of knife. And I feel like those case knives do not do that. They were not, it's like they were superficially made to satisfy the modern knife collector who likes modern locking folders, but they didn't go far enough in their research to make them good. I don't know. That's just kind of my impression. I love Case as a brand, as an institution. I'm rooting for them always. Those knives, just not so much. Dion says, "Holy crap, Bob! I never thought of that. I have two old school sharp fingers. I'm putting a double edge on one of them. Yes. Well, don't do it on an old school, Dion. Don't do it on an old school unless you are like extraordinary at sharpening and don't care. Get one of the cheap foreign made Schrade sharp fingers. At least practice on one of those. Because if you have vintage sharp fingers, you should probably leave those, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't mean to be a killjoy or a buzzkill or whatever, but maybe get a cheap one. Practice on that at least, and then do your second. I don't know. Northern Knives says, we do a lot of mods for customers on the sharp finger for the double edge. Great idea. That's funny. Oh, man, that's cool. So, I'm sure Alaska has a crime problem like everywhere else that has big cities, especially these days. But when I think of Alaska, I think of being attacked by critters more than I do people. But I'm sure there's plenty of people attacking people. I'm sure. Maybe even more so up there. I don't know. But because originally I was like, what do they need a double-edged sharp finger for up there? And then I'm like, don't be a dumbass. Yeah. Yeah. It's, in a way, Alaska is still a frontier. Am I right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm not right. Maybe I'm just a soft-handed, you know, uh, what do they call it? Contiguous boy. 1 Minute Knife Review says, agreed. Double edge a sharp finger sounds like fun. Well, it's immediately a pical, right? Because it's going to hook in and that inner edge is going to be sharp. Loyal Group says, my buddy worked on at a high dollar steakhouse. He once informed me that a buttload of guys bring their own knives to restaurants. Apparently, that is very common. I absolutely love hearing that because, of course, I do. I'm sure most of you do too. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a Jack Wolf knife. It could be a GEC. It could be an Opinel. It could be whatever. But just, I'm not going to grip that wet handle thing and saw through this expensive steak with that dull freaking knife. I love hearing that. It makes me think of that thing that was in the news all week long, that meme about how men think of the Roman Empire once a week or once a day or whatever it is, and women are shocked by this. Like, what? Yeah, of course. And it's the same thing here. I love knowing that I'm not the only one who brings my steak. And I don't see it when I go out, but I love hearing from a waiter at a steak restaurant that it's a very frequent thing. I love that because who wants to, like, it's the whole experience. I shouldn't say in my day. First time I went to a steakhouse as an adult man was years ago, and they came around with cigars after you ate, and you had cigars in the dining room and drank scotch. And I doubt you can do that anywhere anymore, but it was the whole experience. And part of that is cutting the damn steak, and it's the tool you use. And I'm always just bummed, but not like supremely so, because I have an option. But I'm always like, really? You're going to give me that beautiful hunk of meat, and you're going to tell me to cut it with that? Shame. Severe T-Storm fan says, nice. I placed a few mini trappers on it. Oh, nice. Smooth chestnut bone and orange Delrin. Nice. Oh, I like the orange Delrin. And the smooth chestnut bone is that's an old standard for the CV, I believe. And also a gray bone medium toothpick. Nice. A canoe. I need a canoe. All I have is, that sounds so spoiled. I don't mean it to sound like that, but I have this Rough Rider canoe that I got to give to my youngest daughter, who's probably ready to have it now. I should just give this to her. So when I get rid of this canoe, I have to buy a case canoe because there will be a glaring gap in my collection. Thank you, baby. Thank you. They say that every child comes with a loaf of bread under his or her arm. And here we're seeing that live in action. Hero Sticks, nice to see you here, Hero. Great knife. I think I'm going to get, but flying under the radar, the Birch Tree Blades Euclid. If it's anything like the Secant, it's going to be a winner. Oh, man. I like Euclid also. Euclid was not a reformer. What do they call him? Anyway, he was a philosopher, right? Euclid. And then I know that he's a part of, they named a whole part of Cleveland after him. And my family used to live there in South Euclid. So I like that. All right. Craig Vincent says, I sort of like the Marilla and I want the Canuza, but I feel, like it wasn't done well. Of the two, I'm with you. I like the Kinzua better. That's the Tonto. I think it looks nicer. It looks better. I don't know. The blade just looks nicer to me. Craig, you could keep your eye on eBay. You could keep your eye on the secondary market and still experience it, and then maybe not spend full price. And if it's awful, you could move it along for someone like you who just wants to check out that knife. But here's the thing, if it's not financially irresponsible and it's gnawing at you for long enough, just do it. Have a Knife Day says, I like the rust lock. It's very different from what I'm used to. Yeah, and it holds, it puts the blade up high, right? And the flipper, it's not really a front flipper. It's more of it reminds me more of a straight razor than a front flipper. But those are pretty cool. I don't have one. I've never had a case rust lock, but I like how unique they are. Northern Knives says, what are your thoughts on the case knives made by Southern Grind? Well, aren't those the ones? Aren't those I think that's the two we were just talking about, and I just don't like them. Like, they come close, but like I said, when I picked them up at Blade Show, one of them, I think it was the Tonto, the one that I liked better, had lock stick and had a clunky feel, and I don't mind this. I know some people do. It had that real powdery feel to the handle that you get with some hard anodizing on aluminum. But that's neither here nor there. That's more of a personal taste thing. But it just did not feel okay. So even the case knives that you get in the stainless steel that they're only making because it's a really cool cover and they don't care too much about the blade, even those felt more, I don't know, substantial. Nomadic Adventures, Ruth Chris Steakhouse, very common. What? Yeah. Ruth. Oh, yeah. That's cool. Very common. I like that. When I think of Alaska, I think 300 Win Mag or 454 Casull. Big ass calibers, I'm assuming, to take down big ass animals. Sasquatches, maybe. Though, if you believe what people will tell you, probably neither of those would even work. Will B says, the manager at the Texas Roadhouse I was at seemed a bit surprised when I pulled out a Preta 2 to cut my steak. Yes. Will's like, Yeah, and everyone around was like clutching their pearls. Oh my gosh. Pat D's nuts. Nice to have you here, Pat. Late, but here now. Had my XM18 3.5-inch slicer. I like that slicer grind. Used my Victorinox Classic on the keychain to slice a tomato for my BLT at work. Geez, man, what was that? A cherry tomato? Victorinox Classic? Victorinox Classic with that tiny little blade. But sometimes you got what you got, and that's what you got. Oh, I just saw that. We had a little stutter there. Loyal Group, never eat or cut an $80 steak with a $10 knife. Too true. Too true. What's going to last longer, that steak or the knife? The knife. So make sure the knife is a good one. 1 Minute Knife Review says Boker makes nice canoes. I also have a 10-inch closed OCOE river canoe. Wait. OCOE? How do you pronounce that? River canoe, 8-inch main blade. Holy mackerel. That sounds like what? Okay, all right. So that's obviously it's a novelty knife. That's like the size of a XL Espada from Cold Steel, but it's a canoe. That's cool. Bigfoot is not food. Bigfoot is friend, not food. Well, definitely not food. I don't know about friend, but definitely not food. You know, I'm of the school of thought that that if let's talk about aliens for a second. If aliens come down, I am very nervous about that prospect because it never ends well for the civilization that's contacted by a more technically advanced civilization. It never ends well, and so if something comes here, obviously they outclass us and they're going to be drooling over all of our natural resources. So I say, I don't care if you're a friend or not, just stay on Alpha Centauri and let us like ruin our own planet and get lost. Thank you. Ryan's Got Stuff says, today I use my Tramontina. Okay. My, I know, my Tramontina machete. I have one. Those are made in El Salvador. To strip a whole bunch of dry little lightning sticks off a larger stick. Nice. Started a fire, then used my Tunder Camp 3 butcher knife to prep food. Ryan Got Stuff. Ryan, this sounds like you lead a fun life. That sounds cool, man. What did you cook? Now, you sort of teased with the fact that you prepared food, but what was it? Five Door says, I pull out my Olamic Rainmaker at restaurants to the horror of my kids. So good. That's funny. To the horror of your kids. That's funny, man. My kids are just like, Dad. You know, they're used to it. I'm sure yours are too, but maybe they're at the age where they like busting your chops. I know my older daughter is now. And it's like that happened overnight. Went from hero to zero overnight. Byron Kennedy says, I used my shaman to cut off a hotel pool security bracelet this weekend. But me being me managed to put a 1-inch gash in my belly as well. Holy crap. Butterflies, band-aids, and Bloody Mary. What a hashtag. What a dumbass. Hey, man. You know what, Byron? That actually, oddly enough, and this is not Schadenfreude, but that warms my heart, Byron, because I just like knowing, we all like knowing we're not alone, right? And I like knowing that I'm not alone in doing absent minded. You're not dumbass. It's not dumbass, but sometimes we get so used to handling sharp things, we get a little cavalier. And I'm just glad it wasn't worse than it was because you actually got your abdomen. That's scary. That's so I'm glad that didn't happen. So, but you're not a dumbass. You are now a stronger and more resilient Byron Kennedy. Loyal Group says, speaking of Rough Rider stuff, educate me on their reserve knives. Some of the designs are talking dirty to me. All right. Well, I got to say, I don't have. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Hashtag dumb knife stories. I like it, Jim. That fits in. We used to do dumb knife stories here. Haven't done those in a long time. Byron, I'd like you to flesh that one out for us sometime. Loyal Group. So the Rough Rider Reserves. Now I don't have one. I don't even have one of those. But that's not because I don't want them. They started coming out with those right as I was coming out of a slip joint phase, and before I came back into a slip joint phase with the Jack Wolves. So the Rough Rider Reserves eluded me, but from what I've heard, I've watched a lot of videos on them. They are, uh, well, the quality is always there. The quality of build is always there. And from what I can tell, the quality of fit and finish is always there. So, like, there are a couple of designs, or maybe one design, maybe it's just one, that I do remember hearing that there were some design flaws with it, like not in how it was made or presented, but just how it was designed, something, a meta issue, if you will. But on the whole, I think they're awesome. I love my cheap $12 um, Rough Riders. So uh, I think the Rough Rider Reserves are going to be even better. And I'm sorry I haven't educated you. I know the steel is better. I do think the fit and finish is better from what I saw at Blade Show. Like I said, I don't own any of them, but these are pretty good right here. So, do I think that they're worth the money? Um, I'm not the one to ask. I'm not the one to ask because I don't have one. But from what I've seen, they're cool. I would get one. I want to get a Rosecraft, and to me, I put them on the same level. I don't have any Rosecraft slip joints, but a Rough Rider Reserve and a Rosecraft to me are kind of similar beings. And I hate to say this, but I think it's because they share the same font. And I think, to me, in my mind, I put them together. But I think Rosecraft is more associated with like Artisan. I think Artisan OEMs their stuff because they have a lot of knives in AR RPM 9. Nomadic says, "Oh, that wasn't very refreshing. I think I need this." Better. Nomadic Adventure says, "The reason why a well-cut steak is just racked across grill. You're paying for flavor, so a proper cutting edge is needed. Restaurants have restrictions on knives they can have, especially if I didn't think of that. Especially if liquor is served. Well, you know what? I'm fine with the point. Fine. No point. I don't need a point to cut steak, but I do need a sharp edge. We all need a sharp edge. The guy in the kitchen who cut the steak needed a sharp edge. Dion Page says, yes, aliens. Enki and his brother Enlil are here and ready to judge. So you're talking about Gilgamesh, the Epic of Gilgamesh, which I just reread and finished a couple of weeks ago. And I got to say, not Enlil, but Enki do to Sasquatch right there. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, people who are way up the Sasquatch hole or way down the rabbit hole or whatever, they will say that readily, which is interesting. Nomadic Adventure says, why wealthy people have country club memberships or club of some kind. It's a private establishment, so different laws. Not wealthy, the help for wealthy, so know the rules. So speaking of country clubs, I worked at a country club for 2 years when I was 14 and then 15. When I was 15, I was a caddy and I was a crappy caddy and I didn't make much money and I didn't care much because I was a little bitter, I guess. Bitter, and I didn't know golf very well, and I wasn't in great shape. What could I say? I was a shitty caddy. But the year before that, 14, that was my first job, and I was working in the men's locker room of said country club, cleaning the bathroom, shining street shoes and cleaning golf shoes, and in turn, and you know, stocking the bathrooms and then being leered at by naked old perverts. And the funny thing was, at the time, you know, my dad in the 80s, my dad was a physician, did very well, but was not about to like, I mean, I wanted for nothing, I'll be honest, but you know, I still had to work in the men's locker room country club if I wanted to do anything. So it was funny to be dropped off at a country club in a fancy car by my dad and then get out and then go into the locker room and clean diarrhea out of toilets of rich old bastards walking around naked. And man alive, well, let's just say we all, if God willing, we all get to that old age, and it's amazing what happens to a man's body with old age. Think of what happens to a woman's body on top at old age. Same thing happens down below for men. Pretty interesting. Craig Vincent says, LOL, too late, Bob. I already did it. I bought 2 Marillas and 2. This is interesting how people do this, but it's not a judgment. And 1 Canuza, but that was before I discovered this eBay you speak of. In fact, tonight I fought an eBay death match for a 6-leaf SL24. Craig, I like the cut of your jib, sir. 2 Marillas. That's interesting. When people do that, I don't want to say cheap. I'm not cheap, but I have limited resources, as we all do, and junkie is an apt term, and I will be so into this until it arrives, and then I'm like so into this, like my proclivities change with the wind, and I'm off after something else. The shaman is mine, says Byron Kennedy. I like it. Dion Page, yes, hashtag dumbass knife stories weekly episodes. Yeah. Like the time I was trying to impress with the sword cane and stab myself in the leg. That was cool. All the girls thought it was so cool how prodigiously I bled that evening. Dion Page says, I've got pics of blood and super glue aplenty to tell a few stories with. Dion, we were just talking about this. Who was I talking? Someone at work. We were talking about super glue and how, it was originally a field expedient bandage. And, then they discovered it's great to glue everything. And then it's medical use. It's not pushed for that anymore. But my mom taught me that. And, you get a cut, put some super glue and you're good to go. You really are. And, I used to worry about it poisoning my blood, but then I realized, Jesus, excuse the French, God, but I've had the COVID vaccine. I've had I've drunk all manner of poisonous things in foreign countries. Like I've done all sorts of stuff, put stuff in my body. Like, am I really worried about a little bit of super glue in my bloodstream? I mean, come on, only going to make me stronger at this point. Loyal Group says my Wenger pilot put a nice little hole in my left palm last week. Liquid stitch to the rescue. Yeah. Hashtag what a dumbass. No kidding. Oof. Byron says NyQuil kicked in. Time to go. Nice. All right, man. Byron, have a great night. I hope you feel better. NyQuil can lead to interesting dreams. But I hope you're feeling better. I hope you have a great weekend, Byron. And I'll catch you next week, sir. Take care. Nomadic Adventures says, Bob and Jim, your father did a great job. Well, thank you. We don't share the same father, but I think you're right. I think my dad did a great job, and I think Jim's dad did a great job. And I've never met Jim's dad, but Jim's a stand-up guy, and he's the kind of man you want to know. So to me, that means his dad probably had something to do with that. Dion Page says, I cut myself in high school, and when I went to open the super glue, it exploded in my mouth. That's what you get for opening it with your mouth. I glued my uncut fingers with my mustache, my tongue to the, oh my God, the tongue to the roof of my mouth and my lips to my teeth. ER doctors. Oh my God. Oh, well, okay. So Dion, hold on. You were in high school and you had a mustache. Lead singer of Styx. Like, I don't know. That was the first thing, or the guitarist. Tell me, was that the look? Because I'm thinking this was the 80s or the 70s, Dion. Let me know. I'm not sure how old you are. I think you're maybe a few years older than I am. And maybe that mustache. God, I want to think it was in the 80s or the 70s. Because when I was in high school in the 80s, streng verboten to have facial hair. And it wasn't the fashion amongst the dweebs I went to high school with. So it wasn't really an issue. But Craig Vincent says, one of the reasons I got into knives a year ago was because at 60 years old, I finally learned the best way to cook a good steak. And now I had to cut the damn thing. Oh, yes. Oh, that's so cool. So you became a knife guy at 60. That's cool. That's you know what? Like the older you get, I'm a few years behind you. The older you get, the more you see like, I wish I paid more attention in school to this thing, or I'd love to go back to school to study this totally unrelated thing to the rest of my life, just because your interests start to broaden. And I don't know, it's weird how your younger years are spent in like racked with lack of confidence or insecurity or this or that. And then at a certain point, all of a sudden, you just don't give a fuck and you just want to do your life and you want to learn how to cook steak right, or make mozzarella, or make knives, or collect them, or whatever it is. And that's actually very, very freeing. So when people say getting old sucks, yeah, it can suck, and there's aspects of it that do. And I'm not totally old yet, but if you stop yourself from becoming feeble along the way and keep yourself strong, I think being old could actually be pretty good, because being young can suck pretty bad. Loyal Group says, quote unquote, frugal and ADHD are a bad combo. Yeah. I am not ADHD, but maybe the way I approach knives is that way, because I could be distracted any which way. Look at the letter opener. I mean, could you not use this as, yes, even a letter opener? The lights, the brake lights on the back of cars, so many of them look like knives. Warncliffs, a lot of Warncliffs on the brake lights of cars. And the Subarus, I see sharks with open mouths on the back of some Subarus. But yeah, knives everywhere. In the lanes, like when the lines on the road do certain things, it looks like a sword oncoming. They're everywhere. 1 minute knife review: squirrel, phenomenal. Okay. LP Knife Works says, oh, you suffer from squirrel too. Oh, like squirrel. Yeah. Yes, I do suffer from squirrel. Not in all aspects of life, but in this aspect of life. Here, I'll show you. Here's a for instance. So I showed you this. These are the things that are out right now on my desk. This. That was a little crack in my voice for that one. I mean, I got all sorts of like different disparate, stuff out here. I love it all. Actually, I have to do a variety is the spice of life video, but I can't because there's too much variety in my collection. It would be a very long video, and I don't know. Nomadic Adventure says, to be perfectly honest, Blade Junkies, so this replaced Thursday poker night, cheaper and actually more entertaining. Are you telling me that Thursday night knives beat out poker night? Here's to you, sir. I mean, that couldn't be that's very hard to top that compliment. Now, I'm not a poker player, but I know that people who play it love it, and people who like to gamble, like, that's a fun and engaging activity. So if this beats that, geez. And it's cheaper. You can just sit here and listen to me bloviate or not, and just look at the knives and save all that money. Infidels Unlimited says, it's all fun and games until you actually see the fat coming out of your hand and immediately want faint face, fuchsia, tongue out. Oh my God. Oh, okay. That was an icon. That was a barfing icon. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Okay. So infidels, I hesitate to say I've never seen that. So I'm going to knock on wood. I've had some bad cuts, but not yet in the palm of my hand, knock on wood. And just that description of fat, like gurgling out. I added the gurgling, but that's what I saw. is gross, dude. Yeah. Ugh. Like, it's bad enough. I don't know. I'm not so big. Blood doesn't make me want to like pass out or anything, but I don't need to see big gaping wounds. I'm not into that. Or I don't need to see the bone at the bottom of a cut. But the fat, that's gross. Until you apply a little heat, then I don't know. It might smell like pork, I hear. 1 minute right knife review says two weapon practice with live blades ended up with one in my forearm. Also have several fingers I'm lucky to still have. Yes. I think about that all the time doing Sinawali, and I think like, what if I just, you know, um, yeah, you could really mess yourself up. Um, I don't do it too much with live blades, but I do. Those certain patterns are so familiar that you know I do them with live blades sometimes, and yeah, it could be bad. Dion Page says, I've had a mustache since 1990. I was 16. That's awesome. You know me, I'm a tourist with the facial hair. It's just like 6 months a year, 5 months a year. Um, so my dad had a mustache from the moment I met him until I was like a junior in high school. And then one day he came home from work because he left before I did. And then I got home from school and he came home and he had no mustache. And I was like, whoa, what? It was so weird. And I was like, oh my God. And he looked, my dad is bald, like mostly, and kind of always has been since I've known him, since 1971. But when he shaved his mustache off, he looked so much younger, but still bald. So, um, yeah, well, yeah, I'm going 23. Okay, Ryan's got stuff. I just got a mustache just a couple of years ago. I'm 23 years of age. Ryan, I like the way you said I just got a mustache. Like you went to CVS. You're like, I'm looking for something kind of close to red, but not totally red. That's what I'm guessing just from looking at your picture. Ryan says, I try to sharpen only the tip portion to maintain factory thickness on my knives. Oh, interesting. And I cooked a monster mash. It's a whole bunch of food in a pan, toasted egg, meat, onion, cheese, carrots, anything really. That sounds delicious. And so there two things. There's a Italian breakfast mash, like called jambot, and that's what you do. You put all that stuff in there and cook it in eggs, and that's really good. But my wife, when she lived with a bunch of, which she was a surfer at one point when she was young, before I knew her, 18 years old, living in San Diego, and she lived with a bunch of surfer dudes and dudettes, and they had something they called lumberjack, and lumberjack was anything in the fridge in a pot. Sounds like your meal, except a gross version. Yours sounds good. Like the way you described it, I'm thinking like ears of corn and like clams and like sausages and rice. Yes. Craig says, Bob, I am totally irresponsible when it comes to knives. You're not the only one. I am totally responsible, but everyone else here, I hear, is really irresponsible. Every other area. Oh, wait, hold it. I am totally irresponsible when it comes to knives. Every other area of my life, rock solid. Without knives, I just totally lose my shit. I'm retired and on a fixed income. I am a junkie. All right. Hey, Craig, that's okay, man. That's okay. You're a junkie. That's okay. But it's good to be rock solid in all aspects of your life, and then go off the deep end with something. But you don't even have to be necessarily irresponsible. And sir, I get it from where you're coming, but if you're just getting started with knives and you're feeling like that itch, like you have to have, don't do it. Don't do it. You don't need to jeopardize your future to have a knife. You can save up, and that's a good thing to do. We forget about that this day and age because of credit and because of immediate instant satisfaction, gratification, and all that. You can hold off. But if you're 70 years old and you're retired and you're like, this is what I want to spend my money on, and you don't have children at this point to deal with, or whatever it is, your certain responsibilities have waned, man, go for it. My God, like that is the time to do it. Like, oh my God, I I can't wait to think of what I'm gonna have in the next 20 years. I mean, I'm gonna have some custom knives. I'm gonna have to sell some of them, man. If this keeps up over the next 20 years, I will have to sell something. But I'm just thinking of I want to get some exquisite knives. I want to get some like artsy, like knives that you don't touch kind of knives, as well as my $6 Walmart knives. Brandano 0069. Good to have you here, sir. Question, Bob, have you ever practiced with throwing knives? Yes, I have. So last year, I got 3 of the Cold Steel. I think they call them pro throwers. They're 12-inch, heavy. And I watched a couple of videos, and Jim bought me a book about throwing knives and tomahawks. And that was actually the thing that did it, because there was one tip in that book that I didn't get anywhere else. And it worked for both no spin throwing. So if you're like within 10 feet and you just whip it into someone, it's like combat throwing, or a couple of spins from further back. Now for me, I've only gotten good at one spin from about 15 feet back. But anyway, the book that Jim got me kind of gave me this finesse point, that with no spin throwing, you do with your finger. With spin throwing, you do with your thumb, and the description and everything. So yes, I have. It's a lot of fun. Over the summer, oddly enough, I stopped. Eden, my daughter, was into it and is into it. She's gotten pretty good at it. But I just undid a table, and that has become my new target. So I'm going to get back to it. But yeah, check out Cold Steel. They have tons of throwers, and I do suggest the big 12-inch Pro Flight throwers. I think they're really good, and they're nice, and they're weighted, and they're big, and good way to go. I find with the smaller, I have some smaller throwing knives. I mean, you have to throw them with such incredible strength to get those light little tiny knives to stick. Ryan's got stuff, says, I cut myself or anything I let dry over it makes a perfect natural seal. I could make a yeah. Okay. So Ryan, what I will do if I don't, because oftentimes it's too deep and too gushing to even get super glue in there at first. So yeah, I'll do the same thing. Just super compression. Just put a Band-Aid on, or put some gauze on, and then like really wrap it tight until it's like practically throbbing, and leave that on for a day or so, and then just let it seal. Dion Page says, my son got his mustache at 14. He is Sasquatch. That's why I say there are aliens watching and big feet are friend. Oh, okay. You got a big boy. You got a big boy. That's cool, man. I've been thinking about that. How cool, not how cool necessarily, but what the difference would be like. I have 2 girls. I love them dearly, and I love having girls, and I love being around girls. But I also think, like, what would it be like to raise boys? Pat D's Nuts says, just realized that I didn't have any knives with me to play with in the kitchen while listening. Just grabbed my Kaiser Brat in my field duty. Ooh, very nice. But don't you have kitchen knives? I mean, kitchen knives are fun to, play Jason Bourne with. If no one's in the room, you stage a little fight. I used to do that with my girls. I'd be in the kitchen preparing food, and they'd be like out at the bar, so facing me, and then I would just suddenly go into some really complex fight and do all sorts of really complex moves with sound effects, and just pretend I was being attacked and attack back. Yeah. I don't know why I just brought that up. Loyal Group says, Bob, please quit showing that Grizzly V2. Why do you hate my checking account? Loyal Group. I don't hate your checking account. I just strongly dislike it. I don't believe in hate, but I dislike it. So you need to eliminate it. And you know what? Really, don't buy this knife because it's really not awesome, and it really doesn't look great in this tan and gray combo. And that very thin, fully flat ground broad blade is terrible at cutting vegetables, and it's terrible at being a nice big platform to scoop up the stuff you've just cut to drop in the pan. It's awful at that. This thing's terrible, and the improved handle is awful, and then the new sheath, which is much more sleek and retains better, is terrible. So there you go. Don't get it. It's an awful, awful knife. LP Knife Works says, I got to see the fat in the tip of my. I got to see the fat in the tip of my pinky pad. My dog was a puppy and my finger caught the tip of her tooth, split me right open. It was gross. That's funny. Those little dog teeth are like needles, man. Needles. Nomadic Adventures says, some people just see a knife as an artist. I see people like Jack Wolf knives as works of art. Yep. Yeah. He's got some, well, he's got, it's the love that goes into the designs that really comes through. Have a Knife Day says, I grow my beard and mustache starting after my birthday and then shave it off a couple days before my birthday. Yes. People compliment my weight loss. Yeah, it's funny. So I start growing my birthday or my beard around my wife's birthday in October and then shave it off in April sometime. It's like, a little less than half the year. And I get, oh, you look so young, because my beard is just gray. Just gray. Infidels Unlimited says, I've been able to grow a full beard since I was 20 years old. Every time I go to the local pool, they tell me I can't get in the pool with my sweater on. Jim's got a beard. Jim's been growing a beard. It looks awesome. He's been threatening to shave it off, but I think it looks cool. He looks like a stoic. I like it. 1 Minute Knife Review says, love shepherd's pie. Basically mashed potatoes, veggie, meat casserole. Yeah, I love shepherd's pie too, with a Guinness. Craig Vincent says, life brings a change of focus. 20s was girls and cigars. 30s was business, cigars, fishing, and church. 40s was marriage, fishing, and cigars. 50s was divorce and fishing and cigars. 60s, knives. Wow, man. That's an interesting breakdown. Cooking is an art form. Indeed it is. All right, guys. I think that's going to about do it. Dion says, I have a knife day. A couple of years ago, my beard was down to my belly button. Oh my God. When I slipped with the electric trimmer, I lost about 3 pounds that day. Oh my God. That's funny. People call cooking women's work. My question is this: why best chefs in the world are all men? You know what? It's interesting. Yeah. But some of the best cooks in the world are women. Like my grandma and my mom, both my grandmothers were amazing cooks. But I totally hear your point. 1 Minute Knife Review says, let's see, Craig. 20s was dumb jobs, learning what I didn't want to do. 30s was jobs in my field, also learning what I didn't want to do. 40s finally started what I love doing, and 50s more of the same. Right on. I don't know, 1 Minute Knife Review in his 50s. I like that. All about the rotation and understanding that by distance. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it here. I'm about to drop. I was throwing pencils and sticking different types of throwing objects. Oh yeah. Do it. And check out Donnie B all day. He can throw anything and make it stick. It's pretty awesome. All right, guys, that about does it for Thursday Night Knives this week. Be sure to join us next week, of course. I think that grizzly was made of hacked off arms. Hey, Professor, good to see you here, man. We'll see you next week. We'll definitely see you next week. Be sure to join us then. Also, check out this Sunday's interview. Sure to be an awesome one. I think the checking account is allergic to money, he says. Join us on Sunday for the interview, Wednesday for the next midweek supplemental, and then, of course, next Thursday for Thursday Night Knives. For Jim, working his magic behind the switch. Oh, yeah, that's right. This Sunday, it's Lee from Love Them Knives. He's awesome, and we have a great conversation. What a cool dude. All right, back to what I was saying. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, until next time, don't take dull for an answer.